Okay, it's time to talk about circles. Woo. All right, so take out your notes. We have quite a few definitions today, so prepare yourselves. The first definition I would like you to write down is circumference. This is the perimeter of a circle. By definition, we can only find the perimeter of a polygon, and a circle is not a polygon because it's curved. So we have to come up with a new special name for the perimeter of a circle, which is circumference. Oh, there it is. Next, the diameter is the distance from one edge of the circle to the other through the center. We commonly abbreviate this with the letter D. Right, and I have a little picture here for you. Kind of looks like a Pokeball. All right, notice we have our circle. We go from one edge to the other, but we have to pass through the center. This is going to give us the widest part of our circle, which we call the diameter. All right, so two definitions for you. All right, next, we have the radius. All right, this is the distance from the center of the circle to the outside, and it's commonly abbreviated with the letter, where we are. All right, and I have this little picture. All right, once again, we have our circle. We go from the center to any outside edge. It doesn't matter what part of the outside edge we go to, really. The radius is going to be the same no matter what. And then it's also important for you to note how the diameter and the radius relate, because if we have one, we can very easily find the other. So the diameter is 2 times whatever the radius is. All right, just take the radius, multiply it by 2, you will find the diameter. All right, and if you're given the radius and you need to find, or if you're given the diameter and you need to find the radius, take your diameter, divide it by 2, and that will give you your radius. All right, so the diameter is twice the radius, and the radius is half the diameter. So we can always find one if we have the other. All right. The next thing I want to talk to you about is pi. All right. We all know and have seen pi before. It's roughly 3.14. All right. We know the number associated with pi, but I want to make sure you guys know where pi comes from. All right. So pi is the ratio between the circumference and the diameter of a circle. All right. And so ratio implies some sort of comparison having to do with division. And so what I mean by that is if we take the measurement of the circumference of a circle and we divide it by the diameter of that same circle, we are always going to get this number, right? That's pretty cool. Every single circle that ever was and ever will be, we take the circumference, divide it by the diameter, it is always 3.14. And so that ratio is what we call pi, right? And the symbol for pi is this little, 2 tick marks with the little tilde on top, right? I think it looks like a little hut, right? Symbol for pi. All right, and then some formulas for you. All right, I want you to know for today how to find the area of a circle and how to find the circumference of the circle. So the area is going to be pi times the radius squared. It's very important to remember when we do this, we need to use proper order of operations. And so the exponent comes first. So when we're evaluating, and we're going to do an example, you need to make sure you square your radius first and then multiply it by pi. Square your radius first and then multiply it by pi. And then the second formula I have for you is the circumference formula, and that is pi times your diameter. Pi times diameter. So get those written down. Make special note, the biggest mistake I see with area and circumference of circles is which one uses radius and which one uses diameter. Make sure you're using the right measurement, all right? Area uses radius, circumference uses diameter, all right? So we're going to do an example together. I have this circle up here. It has a radius, center to the outside edge. It has a radius of 8 meters. So we're going to use the circle to find the area and then the circumference. All right, so remember, our area formula is pi times the radius squared. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take the actual number of our radius and plug it in. So our radius is 8. So we're going to plug that into the equation, or the formula, excuse me. All right, and then we evaluate. All right, make sure with the area formula, you are always squaring your radius first. So we're going to kind of leave that pi out front for now, and we're going to figure out what 8 squared is. So 8 times 8, that is 64. All right, and then you're going to want to use your calculator for this. You know, multiplying by pi by hand is pretty tedious. You can do it, but let's save some time. So then you would take in your calculator, you can either press the pi button or you can actually type out 3.14. I don't really care which one you decide to do. But we need to figure out what pi times 64 is. And if you plug it in properly, you should get 201.06. All right, I want you to get in the habit of rounding out to the 100th place, so that's 2 spots after the decimal. All right, and then we need proper units. This is an area problem. All right, so we need to make sure we have our unit of meters, but that's meters squared. It's a measurement of area, so we have to square our units. All right, now we're going to take the same circle and find the circumference. Scooch forward. All right, the circumference formula is pi times the diameter. Now be very careful. A lot of times people will see this circle and they'll just take an 8 and plug it in right away. All right, don't be fooled. All right, the 8 is our radius, and we need our diameter for the circumference formula. All right, but since we have our radius, we can very easily find our diameter. All we have to do is double our radius. So we're going to take pi, and then our diameter is twice our radius, so 8 times 2, which is 16. All right, and then once again, in your calculator, figure out what pi times 16 is. All right, and if you plug it in properly, you should get 50.27. Again, get in the habit. Rounding out to the 100th place, 2 after the decimal. All right, and then take a moment, think about the circumference is a measurement of distance. Distance around the outside. So what units would you use? Meters or meters squared? All right, the correct answer is meters. We always use those one-dimensional units for distance, and then those two-dimensional units for area. All right? So we're going to pick up with this tomorrow. I will see you then. Bye.